were not your.
It's not on there, you retard.
We're talking. We all know why this live stream is really happening, because the question is cuckolding gay or not? That's a real question.
Oh my
We'll start
gosh.
with John because I think he's the leader of cuckolding and such.
It's super gay.
Yeah, this isn't funny. Okay.
Yeah, I don't
Yep, sorry, not funny.
joke here.
Don't get it.
Well, it's my
See,
channel. So
it is funny.
No, the thing is though, like when you're on my channel,
No, it's cool. I mean, I know mine. They can do whatever they want. I just don't think it's that funny.
okay,
Yeah,
doke.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
a fetish.
See, now that's what I think a Jew would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But I mean,
maybe if you.
I'm as waspy as they come, and you know, I talked about having one ridiculous wasp trust fund from my waspness.
I think
So-
that if you really want to do cock holding, you first have to gas yourself.
Okay.
That's the primitive way to do it.
Well, see, if we're going to go down this logic path of gassing yourself, which kind of gas would you use, to be honest? Because, I mean, you've got Zyklon B, you got Siren, and you got that other mustard gas type.
I mean, look, if you really wanted to gas yourself, you would just use nitrogen because it's painless and you don't even know it's happening.
No.
See,
no.
now why
you
would
have
you want to do that? Why would you not want to feel
That's
your,
no
your
fun.
lungs are on fire? Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
fun in nitrogen.
No. At all.
Now, helium, that would be funny. Because, like, helium is like less
helium
oxygen
doesn't-
in the air.
No,
So
but
if you
helium doesn't
essentially
work.
fill up
is
a
the
room with
problem.
oxygen. No, you'd pass out, and if you kept the helium in the room, you'd eventually die of asphyxiation.
Yeah,
from
but
lack of oxygen.
the expense of having the helium-proof chamber and the amount of helium you'd have to pump in makes it just totally not worth your time. You can do nitrogen.
No,
you can do
no, you're
nitrogen
just-
trivially.
No. See, you'll just sit in your car and you'll open up a big bottle of helium, start inflating balloons or something.
Nope,
Or
you'd
like
be
just
fine.
make all the helium come out.
You'd
No,
be fine.
no, eventually you'll die. Or you could just do the good old way and just get the entire helium tank and just start huffing it down.
Or you know, put helium and then hang yourself at the same time. Actually works.
I don't
So the
know,
whole
it's
the helium
seems to
thing.
take the fun out of it.
The helium thing isn't. It's incredibly difficult to pull off. Because anywhere that you could kill yourself with helium is a place where you could literally suffocate to death just by breathing. And there are so few places like that finding a good helium chamber, it's a tough one.
Okay. here's
So
this.
would it be essentially your streams, because they seem to be an echo chamber proof sound of all things but your own opinion?
Well, you know, probably.
I mean, hey, I need to red pill you about the Holocaust.
Okay.
Hitler
See,
was
now when
trying
you
to
say
save the
red
Jews.
pill, all I can hear is I'm a retard that likes to go on pole, but I really don't go on pole.
No, but
'cause
I
I'm
don't
not
go
edgy
on
enough.
Paul. I don't.
So-
I don't
Yeah,
go
see,
on
so don't use red
So-
pill because you look like a mess of
So
retard.
tell us your opinions about the Holocaust.
No, I think that
Wait,
Hitler
read the question
wanted
first.
to save the Jews. That's what happened. They wanted to save them, but they first wanted to make a huge barbecue for them to celebrate
okay.
the life of the Jews. But instead of celebrating, they just get in there. So it was on an accident.
So
Hitler
I
did
guess
nothing
my
wrong.
question for the channers that we've invited is, you so rarely get the opportunity to discuss with someone that disagrees with you. Is this how you want to spend that time?
Nah, I just want to talk
I
about
think I'm a
something.
channel.
Let's talk. Let's
That's
talk about
the-
something. I'm not a channer. I don't go on HN at all. So
Okay.
You're a filthy nine.
Fine, sorry, not channers. You individuals who are definitely not channers, you so rarely have the opportunity to discuss something with people who disagree with you. This is how you want to spend your time.
yes, it's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
essentially.
tell me,
Cool.
you talk about Hitman later on 2 channels ago. We're talking about Hitman and how
Yes.
you wanted to, if you drag a prostitute, right? You
Yes.
got the slut,
Yep.
and the game encouraged you. How it encouraged you? Did it tell you an instruction?
No. There are many ways of encouraging people to do things that are neither
Tell me.
score.
But no. When you
Wait,
kill
I
a
have a
person in
question.
Hitman, wait. When you
I
kill
have a
him,
question.
so the
What are
whole
you
thing
trying to
is-
relate this around, by the way, the Holocaust to what?
No, it's just an introduction for fucking nothing going nowhere. So
Because you're comparing a video game to the Holocaust.
I don't know.
Yes,
that was fucking
there's-
random.
Who the
I
fuck does
think
it?
there's an actual game that has a Holocaust in it. I think it's called Barbie's Pegasus Adventure. I don't know. It just seems to be like the same thing. I mean, you've got really terrible things happening, and it's god awful to look at. So I mean, you know, Barbie games are pretty much the Holocaust.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're comparing a video game to the Holocaust.
No, we're just
Yes.
making.
It's
Jesus,
like
man.
how, for a former Gamergate member can compare, I don't know, the objective reviews and subjective reviews, which is pretty much, you have, oh fuck, I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, are we going
No,
to talk
wait,
about
no, no.
objective and subjective reviews? I'd love to talk about objective reviews.
That's one.
No, see, I want to get your opinion on this.
Sure.
So, is it unethical to have a person who is reviewing a game, but because they don't like the person who created the game's ideological view or opinion on one thing, that they lower the score purposely
Are you
to
talking about
reflect
Polygon?
this?
Well, I would say that it is unethical to have your review score affected by things that have nothing to do with the game.
Yeah, so this in general would look
Okay,
at
so
Polygon.
would in turn that make sites like Kotaku and Polygon unethical because they
Pretty
seem
much.
to be doing this because video games don't agree with their ideological biases.
So let me say no, because I said things that have nothing to do with the game, and you just said things that have to do with the game. So no, they're not unethical because the video games themselves don't agree with their ideological biases. Now,
You know-
I'm not stating that what you just stated was true, but it's not unethical to have opinions.
It's not unethical to have opinions, but it is unethical
Whoa,
to
whoa,
basically
whoa, whoa,
say-
whoa.
Shut up. Still shut up. I was fucking around with Bacon all last night about this. I think I know what I'm doing. But would you say
Bacon
it's
is
not?
fuck with.
But would you say that it's? You know, I know it's retard, but so is everyone else. I mean, come on. But no. But do you not see that there is a problem there? Like you having a game reviewing site decreases the score of a game because it doesn't agree with their ideological biases. Can you see how if it goes one way, it has to go two ways essentially? So you can't have it vice versa of the game.
I don't see the vice versa. So let me put it this way. If a site says, I didn't like this game because the blatant misogyny and heteronormativity made me uncomfortable through my entire playthrough. So while based on merely the mechanics and visuals of the game, I loved it, but I was so put off by the story and the characters that I could never get truly involved in the game, 7.5, that seems like a perfectly acceptable review to me.
See, now, what's this thing with sexual normativity and all this kind of stuff? What would this have to do with the
Just
game?
throw it in
If
some
you're
terms.
saying that, well, no, like, if you're saying, well, I didn't like the game because I couldn't get in with the character, the story was terrible, but everything else was alright about it. But when you put in, like, a bit of ideological bias, like with heteronormativity, like all this kind of stuff, coming from a background of someone who probably does have a gender studies degree, writing for the site, does this not promote? Does this not like have an unethical thing because they're letting their ideological biases dictate how the game is, even
Nope.
if they said, look, all right,
Nope. The reason that's not a problem is because it's clear why they voted it down. They voted it down for reasons that were true in their opinion, and it was a reason why someone might not want to play the game. For instance, if you're the kind of person that gets offended by this kind of heteronormativity, then this game will offend you, and you will not want to play it.
Well, opinions are not truth.
well then what does the fact of heteronormativity have to do with the game? If it's like you're
The
playing a game
story
like
was
that
tremendously.
Fargo.
The story was heteronormative, and it made me uncomfortable, and it made me less like the game. It made me like the game less.
It's just an aspect of the story.
Yeah, it's an aspect of the story, or the camera, or something.
Yeah.
But it's still subjective. It's not objective.
It's very subjective.
Well, yeah, so it's like good controls is also subjective. I mean, whatever.
I love subjectivity in my reviews. I want my reviews to tell me whether the game is going to be enjoyable or not enjoyable.
Plain and simple, reviews come down to two bases of opinions. People like different types of games.
Yeah,
People like different types of controls.
yeah,
It's like maybe one person likes to beat 'em up.
yeah.
Maybe one person likes to play a controller with it. Maybe one person likes the keyboard and mouse. Maybe one person likes the gamepad.
Yeah, that's all true. Those are all relevant things that if the reviewer said, this shooter on the PC was great, but it required me to use controller-type inputs as opposed to keyboard and mouse, 6 out of 10, that makes sense to me.
Or the same thing with not being able to change the complete mapping of the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, sure.
Field of view sliders, whatever your deal is.
Whatever it is that makes you want to play or not play a game, I want to hear what it was, and I want to know how much you enjoyed the game. And if
You
the
can
reason,
conceal why you like it or don't like it. That's not.
no, that would be bad.
Yeah.
No. This game was wonderful and I loved it except for the secret 7 of 10. No, I don't like that.
Yeah, but that's not what's happening for the most part.
Okay, I'm back. What have you guys been talking about?
Objective reviews.
Objective and subjective review. I'm not in that debate. I just want to talk about games.
Okay, well, here's my thoughts on objective reviews. In my opinion, the term objectivity is often misconstrued to mean you have to 100% objective. You can't have 100% objectivity. It's just not possible. It's the destination, not it's the journey, not the destination. But you can have a review that is as objective as possible, and that's the best way to do it, in my opinion. I don't think that should be based on
What if you objectively found the story really just totally off-putting? Basically, let me give you a totally off-putting game. Say the story is called Resume Reviewer, and your job in Resume Reviewer, literally, it has. Well,
before we continue, because this can easily get into really subjective terminology, and I can see what you're kind of going with this. By story, I do think there are actually some objective criteria we can set.
No. Let me hit you with Resume Reviewer. You're going to love it. Resume Reviewer. In Resume Reviewer, your job is, as a member of the KKK, to actively keep black people from getting good jobs. Okay?
Jesus, man. Hey, you're just moving out of the contest. We're talking about games.
No, I want to hear more.
This game cannot exist. The KKK does not have a resume.
I'm sorry,
reviewer.
didn't you guys come
the
in here
KKK recruits?
Yeah,
I've heard weirder games.
Yeah,
than this,
no,
so
but I'm saying.
So in the game, your job as a stealth member of the KKK is to make sure as few black people as possible get hedge fund internships as humanly possible.
So we also gassed them?
You can do lots of things.
That doesn't make sense. Why would the KKK be recruiting people for a hedge fund? That would be Israel's job, Goya.
They're not.
Okay, but this is the game, right? And your job in this game is to reject as many black people as possible, but not get caught rejecting them. And the controls are incredible. It has the best graphics ever made. The shooting segments, if you ever get into a shooting segment, literally, it's like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Hardline, Bulletstorm, all combined into the best parts of each of those combined into one. It is technically the best game ever. The only problem,
smoke what you're smoking.
Yeah, the only problem is that the whole story is about how you are a member of the KKK and you have to reject as many black people as possible from hedge fund jobs. Now,
all right.
You as a reviewer said you as a reviewer. Here's the review. Here's the review.
I want to say something. Are you saying that Kramer's Hentai Adventure is not the best game ever made by man? Because if you're saying that, then there's obviously something wrong with you. Objectively, Kramer's Hentai Adventure is the greatest game ever. It has a great story. It has a great plot line. It's got great stakes, and it also has the best controls ever seen by man.
Great, sure. So here's your review. Your review is this game is a technological marvel. It is singularly the most impressive shooter, platformer, strategic game ever made by man. As that, it will likely never be topped. However, the story is repulsive. It made me not like playing the game. And in fact, after 3 hours of rejecting black applicants, I chose to turn it off, walk away, and take a break. I came back later and finished it, slogging through beautiful, tremendously rendered, wonderful graphics qualities that made me feel like a bad person every day. Getting through the 60 hours of gameplay was a chore and a nightmare. Not due to the controls, but rather due to the story, which made me feel bad about myself every minute. 6 out of 10.
If there's a game of rejecting black people, I will tell you that fucks will love video games.
So what do you think, John?
What do you think, John? How do you like that review?
Honestly,
I think your
really don't
opinion
care.
is wrong.
Here's my opinion on racist elements in fiction. I think that I honestly think it's better to have them than to not have them.
Yeah, but that wasn't this. This was so racist. This was so racist and over the top. The phrenology section, for instance, he goes on and on about as being a masterpiece of Surgeon Simulator crossed with some other game, literally the best he'd ever seen. However, he was cutting into a live black person's skull, and that made him feel really, really bad about himself.
Are you talking about Resident Evil 5?
Well, here's my question to that. Is the review scored?
Yeah, 6.5 out of 10.
That's
a technological marvel.
Okay, here's my problem with this.
Yes.
If you put,
Well,
I
if
do not
it's,
like
it's that
whether
it's
you're
in a technological marvel, isn't that like a double negative? Like you're giving a low score, even though technically you're saying that it's a technological marvel.
and
I don't think that's.
You tell me whether this review is inappropriate or not.
I think it's inappropriate for one reason.
Okay.
My reasoning why this is an inappropriate review is because, in my opinion, and I think this is an opinion a lot of people share, you cannot quantify a review. You can't assign a number to it because it's meaningless.
Wait,
Okay.
I'll interrupt here. So, John, you said
No. You can. It's just that you have to have a very nice. Oh god, it's Zen.
Zen's
Yeah,
allowed.
okay.
It's not.
Yeah, but Zen. But you forget.
Damn,
Zen's
baby,
one
I
of
love
the
you.
He's
Wait.
trying to steal my shekels, Goy.
No, I'm
Get him out of
confused.
here.
I'm
Shut
confused.
this hot head down.
So let's ignore the number part because apparently you don't believe in numbers for any reviews. Is that fair?
No. Let's go down the part of numbers. Let's say that you have a written review and with the quantitative number review.
I can make your
And you
argument
give it-
for you, actually, fake, because I see there's two anti-Gamergate guys here. I can make
Wait,
those
hey,
arguments
Zane, I'm
for
not
you.
Dan, we're right in the
I'm
middle of
just a
something.
shitposter.
Oh boy, you're right in the middle of shitposting. Well, I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
Fake, let me ask you a question.
I give a fuck.
Why do you focus on the issues that GG is putting forward instead of the behavior of the people today? And I'm not talking about, misogyny this or misogyny that or harassment. Why not focus on the fact that whenever there's not an instant gratification going on, most of the popular people in Gamergate start tearing each other apart? Would that not be a better argument? Because it makes them all
we don't
look
care.
like
Yeah, I don't care about.
are.
Yeah, I don't really care about the celebrity bullshit that you guys.
No, not just the celeb. No,
Zan,
not just the e-celebs.
I wanna.
Even in the
Zan,
in the channels
I wanna
on Reddit, they all do it.
Zen,
Yeah,
that
they're
sounds kind of pathetic.
Yeah, I just don't care.
Zan, I think you don't understand. Gamergate really needs to die. It's the most cancerous thing in the world.
Rude.
Oh no disagreement there at all. I'm just asking the anti-Gamergate guy though, like why don't you would get a
Because we
lot
don't care.
further.
No,
you don't
trust
have
me,
to
the other
care.
Because-
You get a lot
because-
further in your argument.
No, here's why. I can tell you why. I have the answer. The reason is that we don't really care anymore about ending Gamergate because it's not really meaningful or relevant in the world. So if
that makes sense.
if tactics were important to me and there was some goal that I were striving for, that might be the tactic I choose. But I don't feel there's a necessary goal
okay.
at this point.
Well, I could give you a potential goal. Why not dunk some goons? Because it's full of goons. At this point, it's just full of goons.
We
And
don't
if I
care about
was
the
you-
good thing.
Yeah, but I don't care about that.
I mean, hey, it's pretty ballsy to just go out and dunk people. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
We
but
don't care
Zan, the
about
way
goods.
that you go
That's-
around trying to
Get
do that
used
is the
to
most
it.
artistic way ever. It's
Fake.
kind of like you have a
But
bitch fit with
where were
someone
we-
on
we
Twitter,
were on
and then you
objective
go,
I
reviews.
don't do it. I just watch.
Wait, we were on objective
Okay.
reviews, and the thing that last got said about objective reviews was any review with a number is immoral. Is that or is unethical? Was that the position you took?
John?
No, I think that was someone else's position. My
That was
position
John.
was I think you can have a written review along with a score review. It's just
Okay.
if you're writing a written down review saying greatest game technological marvel and you give it like a 2 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10.
6.5.
That to me, well, yeah, 6.5. When you give it like such high acclaim in like the end of the statement.
Yeah,
like
but
in the too long
but let me
section, you
revive.
give it- hold on, I'm not
Okay,
done. I'm
okay.
not done.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying my point. I'm not really disagreeing or agreeing with you. I'm just saying my point. To me, when you give it like such a low score review, like as a number review, yet you write something down like technological marvel, great things, and like all this stuff, but you give it such a low score. To me, that just kind of seems a bit unethical. But then again, it's a flawed system as well.
Right, but you also said a technological marvel, the best game of its era technologically, with the single worst story ever that made me never want to play a single minute of it ever again.
Or probably like you have to take into account the gameplay itself, what the plot actually is, because the game can look incredible but be shit.
No, this game was literally, if it weren't for the fact that it was about a race war, it was the best game ever. It's
That's
only
so
the
fine,
fact
Chuck.
that the plot is the most revolting thing ever made by man
Well,
that
for
makes
you-
it anything but a 10 out of 10.
No,
You're talking
I don't
about
think you know
Bioshock
what the most
Infinite?
revolting thing of man is. No, it's not Bioshock Infinite. It's called
If I can answer the
Gamergate.
question,
It's the most revolting
Yeah.
thing ever made by man. It's absolutely
Here's-
full and disgusting. Same with traps.
Dude, traps are the best. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay,
this is
Kevin.
not
what-
the A-Team stream.
Yeah, I can tell. Kevin, go ahead.
Wait, they.
And what I was saying, like, I'm sorry if I'm interrupting somebody here, but what I was saying was my problem with your review is that you give a score to it, and I fundamentally reject the notion that you can apply a quantifiable
So
score.
you're against all scores and all reviews.
I'm against all scores and all reviews because all scores and all reviews are useless.
Well, let's
That's
get rid
my
of the
position.
score.
Let's get rid of the score.
Now,
Yeah, okay. So
So-
let's get rid of the score.
All scored reviews are unacceptable. So now this review says a technological marvel, the single best controls, graphics, whatever, ever made by man. If it weren't for the fact that it was the single most revolting plot line that made me want to not play another minute of it ever again, I would have given it a must-buy. But instead, you should avoid it.
No ethical
Well,
violation.
But what's the
yeah,
context?
no, that's fine. If you said like that, if you like had a data that, like to it, like linking back to like
But you re-
that data aggregation side for games, but you had it linking back to them, purposely lower the score, that would be an ethical. But if
So
you just
let me-
said don't buy it, that's
So
the problem.
let me ask you a question.
It's like, no-
How is that any different? How is that any different than the Polygon review of Bayonetta 2?
It isn't.
So that wasn't unethical.
It wasn't unethical, but the thing is, a lot of people don't realize that.
Okay, it wasn't unethical.
Great. So no one thinks that was unethical.
No,
Right.
the thing is, it's not like the thing is, people really don't get this. It's not just about ethics in video games journalism. It isn't. It really
Yeah,
isn't.
it's about getting rid of the SJ dubs. I got it.
No.
No.
It's about getting rid of people who are using gamers as a boogeyman. That's what's
Okay.
about.
No,
I just wanna-
it's about getting rid of the
Now,
Jews.
though.
We all know
It's
what's
not
really going
unethical.
on here.
The review was not unethical.
No, I never said it was.
I'm happy to hear that. I didn't say that
No.
you said it was.
no one said that the
Dan said
review
it
was
was.
unethical. It was just shitty.
Okay, you can disagree with him all you want to. That's cool, but disagreements aren't
We're not
unethical.
disagreeing
Right.
with you.
No,
We're just
You can write,
I think-
shitty reviews all day or not shitty.
Holy
it doesn't
shit!
matter.
No one gives a
I mean,
shit.
it-
Kill yourself, please, for the love of God.
Okay, I'm just
You
going to take a
do.
page from Zan on this one. See, Zan made a very, very good point on the last stream I was on with it. And that was, we shouldn't get rid of these websites because they're unethical or because they're full of SJWs. We should get rid of them because they're useless.
They are
you shouldn't get rid
useless.
of them at all. You should just isolate them, and then the people that want that and want that kind of isolated hug box atmosphere will go there, and they'll be contained while the rest of us enjoy our freedom. That's what you should do.
You see, wherever you go,
In fact,
Zach,
giving it attention has probably worked out worse because
Disagree.
I don't know. Oh no, I can objectively prove that one because one thing that people didn't want to focus on and don't want to talk about is the fact that when all of the controversy was happening surrounding Kotaku and their aspects as it applied to Gamergate, they were getting more page views than they've ever gotten in their entire history before for 3.5 months. That's even with all the people using, Archive Today and stuff. The controversy attracted more attention than anything they had done. The shitty reviews.
I doubt it was actually the controversy. I think that was.
Yeah, I
probably unrelated.
think this was noise.
Yeah, I think it was probably
mean-
unrelated, but they were doing well. They definitely did well at that time.
I think that honestly, I think that the fact that so many people got booty blasted at them gave them more money. And like the proof is, you can look anywhere
I
for
think
examples.
you
of
got
this
booty
stuff.
blasted.
Look at the Drake diss that just came out. That fucking Drake puts out tracks. They're wildly popular. He puts out a diss track. It goes around the world in the first 24 hours, and it's like the most shared thing, and every fucking person is hearing it. Like that's the point. Controversy sells.
Totally.
So the entire strategy that Gamergate had, like focusing in on these guys like a laser, was retarded. They should just have been left alone to do their own thing. Honestly, should have been like, yeah, okay, well, you know what we're gonna do? We're just simply not going to read your shit anymore. If we don't like it, we're not gonna read it, and that's it. That's all you need to do. Just
Yeah.
isolate people. They eat themselves. Like that's what's
Yeah.
happening in Gamergate right now. They're fucking eating themselves because they're isolated.
Zan, it's mainly because people love drama. No matter what.
Yeah, pretty much.
People love. Look at the game Hatred. That game was made just to be what it was.
That's
You
pretty much what
guys
it
don't
is.
really
All
remember.
that shit.
That
You
game
guys
was
don't remember
made
what
for
was
me.
happening before all this. You guys don't
Oh, yeah.
remember that Polygon was getting shit on by the people who were the most socially progressive in the gaming scene? Polygon was getting shit on by those people because they weren't hiring diverse hires. They were all like, straight white dudes,
They're
right?
getting shit on by everybody. Yeah, I mean,
So then now people like Polygon just basically because Gamergate hates them.
Yeah,
For reasons that are really.
See, I don't like Polygon because I just don't find their reviews to be informative at all, and
And
not
that's
really in
that's
my interest.
fine.
That's
I-
cool.
And I'm not Gamergate at all.
I don't
I don't
like
care.
Polygon because it's Polygon.
I don't like Polygon because they made a deal with Microsoft to basically fund their corporation to basically be a PR branch.
Sure,
Fuck 'em.
whatever.
Microsoft
This
is
is
a superior
all
program.
great,
It's like,
but it has
like
no
Apple.
relationship to anything Gamergate has ever done or said.
That is not true. A lot of people caught on to that and complained about it.
Yeah, they totally complain
Yeah.
about the Polygon.
Yes, they
Come
did.
on,
There's
no,
multiple
no,
videos
no,
on the
wait,
subject.
no,
I can link
wait.
to.
Isn't there
I mean, because
I've
you
write a few
would-
articles about
Look.
Gamergate about how it was misogynist. I swear, I remember seeing that kind of shit.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
look,
also that.
if no one stands up on the objective review front, why does anyone even dislike Polygon then?
Well, the thing is, though, it's not.
Like I said,
this is-
I don't like it because I just don't find it to be
Well,
in my common interest.
Yeah, but
They don't seem to
sure.
care about
but
games
you
the way
aren't, you
I
aren't out there. You aren't out there screaming about how it's terrible and needs to be defunded and de-advertised, right?
No, I'm not because I'm not autistic like you think I am.
Right. So for any of the people who are screaming that, why?
They're allowed to. It's like saying why you're allowed to hold the position you hold right now.
Well, sure,
They're
I'm
not
allowed
allowed
to.
Yeah, nobody's saying
Yeah,
they're not allowed to.
and
They're just
they're
saying
allowed
it's
to express
stupid.
their opinion. That's
I mean, it doesn't make them objectively right. Like, they're honestly.
Yeah, they can be
At this
wrong for what I
point-
give a shit about, but they're allowed to do it.
Okay,
if you
here's-
like,
but it's
please,
stupid.
there's no point.
Wait, are there any actual like gators in this stream at this point, or is this just a lot of people?
Mostly people who used to be, and we all realized that we were wasting our fucking
John, are you a gator?
I'm not a gator.
Yeah, he is. Look at him. He's got Vivian James.
you've got
He
Vivian
is
James
the
avatar.
most.
I mean,
He is the
Vivian
most hated
James is not
person.
Gamergate.
Oh, he's one of the most hated people from
Oh, yeah.
from that whole sphere right now. They hate his ass so much because he dared to criticize a.
I
an
criticize
equal-
Sargon. I
Well,
criticize
I have something
Valve,
to say about
I
that. That's for
criticized-
another time.
I have criticized just about every East 11 game.
You kind of did yellow journalism too, but that's for another time.
I
It's
didn't.
like I
Whoa,
said-
whoa, 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 whoa! Wait, what?
Yeah,
let's
no,
just
like,
bring it
anyway,
up now.
I think we can
What yell
topics.
journalism?
Wait.
To answer the color guy Copter's
That's
question,
just
no.
for
I don't
another
think one
time,
of us-
John.
Wait, this is so sub interesting to me at this point. I
Yeah.
can't even.
You're not even gators.
Yeah, you guys aren't even gators. Like
There
what?
aren't very many of them around anymore. They're
Yeah,
dying.
no,
breeds.
we're just people that are talking with you guys. Like,
Because the discussion.
I don't care about you.
But we don't. You don't even like.
We don't care about you.
Why are you even involved in this then?
Yeah, what
Because
is
I
that?
care about the issues, and you don't.
Are
seem
you
to.
just friends? Like, is that what this is?
Well, some of
Kind
us.
of, yeah.
not really, I hate. The only person I'm really considered friends with is probably John, but everyone else I really don't
No,
like.
but
So
but why are you here? Why are you here talking about Gamergate with us?
Why are you talking about reviews and stuff? Like, what
Why
is
are you
this?
talking about
know.
racism? I don't know. This is just for fun.
No.
People wanted to have a stream.
Why,
with-
No, I'm happy to. Wait. I'm happy to go
Why does
off
anybody do
Gamergate.
anything?
No, I'm happy to go off and stop talking about Gamergate. We can talk about other shit. I don't care. But like, are there any like? What's
Fox.
the point?
The helicopter guy. I think what we're all here for is just to get your opinion and discuss.
But you
like,
agree
game
with
reviews
me
you.
about Gamergate.
No.
No.
Wait, you
Not
think it's
all of us
trash,
have the
and
same-
I think it's trash.
Yeah.
You think
No,
it's
I
trash in a
think
different
they're
manner.
just autistic and a waste of time.
Is that not?
I think
synonymous
that.
with trash?
I think it a little
It's not
less.
exactly the same point.
Well,
like,
no,
we share a kind of a similar opinion, but I have.
Well, what
more
opinions
lenience
do
to
you
give a
share
shit
with
about
them?
Gamergate. Not a lot. Like, they stopped caring about things that I cared about a long time ago.
Well, what are the things you care about that they stopped caring about?
Okay, what do I care about that they care about? I actually do care about ethics and journalism, with the caveat that I don't agree with the majority of their opinions on what counts as as ethical or unethical.
Which ones do you agree on?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
What's
Here's-
unethics?
Okay, here's
I
my
think it's
stance
just
when it comes
wanting
to
to get
ethics.
into the semantics of this.
Uh,
No, I don't
no,
want
I
to get
cannot.
into semantics.
We're not. And if we do, I'll just kick people off the stream. Anyway, the thing, my stance on ethics is this. First, be honest. If you're being dishonest, as far as I'm concerned, you're being unethical.
Has anyone not been honest?
Honesty, good.
Yes, there's been plenty of people who've been dishonest, but we're not going to go into specifics.
I know. Let's do a specific.
Yeah, like on both sides, there have been people who have been dishonest about a lot of things.
Okay, let me
What's
give.
the specific
That's absolutely true.
Okay, let me give an example of being dishonest. You know the Wizard Chain raid?
Well,
I don't think we need to give an example.
we
I
can
think we all know.
certainly. Wait, I would love to talk about Wizard Chan. Let's talk about
we're
Wizard
not
Chin.
talking. We're not talking about
All
Wizard
right,
Chin.
let's
We're
talk about
talking
Wizard
very
Chin.
specific incidents of
Okay.
dishonest journalism.
Okay.
No one gives a shit about them.
Okay.
No
No,
one
the
cares.
only reason
It's
I
a
don't even
bunch of
care about
autistic
Wizard
people
Chin.
on the internet.
Yeah,
Okay.
The thing I care about, though, is that what happened with Wizard Chan was this. Basically, someone, may have been Zoe, may have not been. We have the word of the admins of Wizard Chan that was Zoe Quinn. I don't know whether we can just take that at face value because this is kind of a he said, she said. But that's not the point I'm getting at. Someone pretending to be Zoe Quinn, who may have been Zoe, we don't know, went to Wizard Chan forums and basically said, "Oh, look at my game, right?" And everyone there was like, "No, we don't want this game. Go away." And they got mad at her, right? At this poster. And
Yes.
then Zoe Quinn went on Twitter and other places and said, "Oh no, I've been harassed." And the journalists all picked this up, and they reported the
Left out
story.
the middle part where people were calling her.
Yeah, you left out the middle part where she was harassed.
No, first off, we're not going to discussion about harassment here because I'll just.
I
be
mean,
another
but it
argument
happened. Like
semantics.
people were calling her. Like,
Okay,
it
people,
happened.
people said
and
mean
guess
things to
what?
her.
There are death threats against
they're
the president of the
calling
No,
United
people
States.
were calling her. People were calling her on the telephone.
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
telephone.
yeah, that's
boy,
great.
someone's
She
calling me on the
alleges
telephone.
people were calling her on the telephone.
Yeah,
She
who
alleges it was Wizard
cares?
Chan. The point is, the reason why this is a dishonest story, though, because I don't care who's right or wrong in this, because that's not the point. The point I'm getting
Okay.
It kind of is if it's about honesty.
it's about the honesty of the publications for only getting one side of the story. If it's a he said, she said, you are required to get both sides of the story.
Which story are you talking about?
The Wizard, all the
At the
publications.
same time, you can't assume that some parts of it equals all parts.
The point is when you go out
Some
there,
people-
you automatically assume that
Wait,
an entire
Sage was
group of
talking.
people.
He's pointing. Could you repeat that, please?
Me?
Yes.
Lag.
All right. You shouldn't. At the same time, you shouldn't assume that some people sending death threats equals all people harassing them, or the majority even. One must take into account that
Sage.
this is a small number of people. Yes.
Sage, can I say something about that? In general, it's like anything in terms of feminism, Gamergate, etc. Just because you have one group of assholes doing something
What?
doesn't mean that entire group that they belong to are assholes.
It's the generalizations that get
the
you into
outside
trouble.
public, they just group that people who say they're Gamergate
Yeah.
and that they're assholes.
It's the same thing with people that call themselves
It's
feminists.
too late. Once a story is linked, the people who aren't informed of it are going to think that there's no real way of thinking that, oh, Gamergate's all on the moral good side. It's going to be on both sides. No one's going to give a shit.
I mean,
Only the
that's
people
why
that are
The
autistic like
criticism
Stan and all the other
don't
people
state that
that
all
actually care about
people-
Gamergate and the issues
Goku versus
actually care about the side it stands on. Like, to the common person, no one's going to give a shit. They're going to look at us and go, man, these people are really fucking autistic, and then they're going to go back to playing video games.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point I'm getting
So, like,
at.
this whole notion of like explaining what Wizard Chan is and like having examples, it's not going to care because we all understand by this point in time where everyone stands in line on their opinions of Gamergate.
That's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at a very specific question about what is
Well,
ethics.
Who wrote something unethical about the Wizard Chin raid? Because I'm still.
There was a number of websites, including GamerRanks, which, by the way, they never bothered to update that article, despite the fact that like a bunch of gators are now sucking Chong's dick because he plays Cards Against Humanity with him. Seriously, fuck that guy. He said shitty things to you for a year, and what'd you guys do? You all went ahead and embraced him in open arms. Think about that. for a
Yeah,
second.
the Ian Miles Chong thing is
I'll
another
be right
kind
back.
of great example because like people just like turned around and like completely turned themselves into hypocrites over that. It's like, oh, he's on our side now. Oh, it's okay. All the bad behaviors are okay as long as they do it for our side. Like this is the problem with conservatives too right now. That's why the conservative meme has been spawned. Is fucking conservatives
Oh,
are
God, please, Dan, kill yourself if you're going to say that word again. Jesus Christ.
conservative.
Yeah, the whole thing that now that I'm sucking your
Ethics.
dick, I'm a good guy now. It kind of sucks.
You like how I say cuck, fam?
Yes.
Fam, I think you're even more autistic than
fam.
I could ever begin to fathom.
I don't know. A
is
lot
that
of people
annoying
call me
you?
autistic.
It's fine. It's okay. My autism's on the next level. It's so bad that I'm fucking winning.
So-
It's okay.
I don't know.
What I was getting at, though, I guess, was like It's like with the conservative movement. You have people running around behaving really, really ridiculously badly and acting like fucking gigantic douchebags. And it's okay to them when they do it, but it's not okay when the other side does it. And nobody's sitting there saying objectively, well, hey, douchebag behaviors are a bad thing. No, it's like, oh no, it's only okay when my side does it. Gamergate became basically the same thing. It became, we will do all the same bad behaviors, but it's okay because we're doing them. It's just
because
it's so
what they're doing
stupid.
Is that about like anything though?
What you fail to see.
So that makes it okay. If that's the thing, that's my counter argument to that. Like if it's morally, what we're doing is morally correct. So that makes the bad behaviors okay because the ends justify the means. Like that's
Zan,
they fucking don't.
Zan, the same thing can be looked at anywhere throughout time, including
Yeah,
war.
it's a problem with
like,
humanity right now, but
like
it's
people
worse
work-
now.
It's like, oh, I see them killing people, so let's go to war.
No, it's like a lot worse. But this stuff with hypocrisy and personal responsibility it's a lot fucking worse, especially in Western societies right now.
True. It's like,
Much worse than it was even 10 years ago. And that's what I don't understand is where that's all coming from. It's
I think it's
a lot
Israel.
of things people try to point to. But
Israel, that's where it's all
the
coming
Jews.
from.
Yeah, no, it's the Jews. But fucking people will try to point to a lot of things. Like I see people do it all the time. I see people, oh, it's just the niggers. Oh, it's just the kikes. Oh, it's just the spics. Oh, it's just this. Oh, it's just liberals.
Well, it is
oh,
the
it's just
Jews.
conservatives. It's fucking no. You know what it is? It's the fact that you have too many people in the society running around with a ridiculous sense of entitlement and an ego the size of the planet. That's the problem. People who
And at
are
the same
so
time accusing
thin-skinned,
people of creating all the problems without ever looking at
themselves.
everything.
Nobody wants to look in a mirror. Like that's the thing. Like people are running around now with huge sense of entitlement, huge egos, and the slightest criticism, and they fucking throw a shit fit.
Yeah,
And-
yes,
and
and
it's
we all
just
know
like-
that you do this thing where you
crazy.
simplify the very thing that you're criticizing while also saying doing the very
Are you
thing
talking
criticizing
about
in the
the
same
Not
sentence.
really. No, I don't think I'm exemplifying it at all. I don't
Anyway, the
really have
point
an
wasn't
ego.
just to mock you; it was just to basically go into a segue into a point that I really want to disagree with someone.
We'll go for it.
Yeah, okay. Someone in the comment in the chat said that basically it's okay for us to forgive Chung, and this is not implying this is not a compromise of the values that we set forth. I'm not done yet.
Yeah,
I'm not done
forgiving him is one
No,
thing.
no, please stop interrupting me. The point is that I'm making by
The
this.
point is
why-
that I like to interrupt John quite a bit as well. It's quite fun.
You faggot. Anyway,
I love you too.
the point is that I'm making at. You can't. The reason why I shouldn't forgive Chung is because you all agreed from the start of this, especially with Internet Aristocrats videos and all the stuff they've done, all this flip-flopping from being a neo-Nazi to being a social justice warrior to being a I don't know what he became during Gamergate. I guess he just became an asshole, and then becoming a gator. Finally, you seem to forget a pattern here. That he's a complete flip-flopper, a backstabber, and a rat fleeing a sinking ship. There is absolutely no way at that point you can ever trust him on anything, ever. And the fact that you're willing to say that because he's changed his mind again is evidence that he is trustworthy now, because he's changed his political stances once again and updated some articles that you informed him about without himself going through his website and meticulously updating it. He didn't even bother to do that. But even if he did do that, there's no saving him. Gameranx is dead. They have no credibility, and you should not be going to them. And anyone who supports him is an idiot. Period.
Can't you get your ethics back by becoming ethical?
No, because it's not a matter of ethics at that point. It's a matter of credibility, and he has none.
Well, no, you see, I think that they can be at least slightly redeemed, but they're not going to be the same as like what they were in the beginning. Like you can't
if
be
you
going around acting
repeatedly
unethical,
flip-flop
and
on
then you just do a
position,
180.
then- If
It
you
just seems
repeatedly
that, like,
flip-flop
you'll-
on one
You know
position,
what?
then
You know
it
what?
won't be so credible anymore, and you shouldn't be as trusted until you get to the point where you gain that trust.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring something up to that for Microsoft. Take the Xbox One. All that shit, flip-flop, they lost a lot of credibility, but people still trust them. Why? Because they gain trust over time, showing that they're not
That's what I was
The
saying.
reason why the Xbox One was so
I was
successful is
stating
because
that
there's a bunch of
you
these
would-
things called loyal fanboys, and they buy
Well, also at the
and
same
take
time,
buy
though,
shit from
you
them
have
like
to-
no problem.
You do have to
How
realize
is a
though,
celeb?
I was stating that
you lose a lot of. Sorry.
I
I
don't.
was stating that if you would flip-flop on a position, then yes, you can gain credibility, but you've lost the credibility
lost
for
what
that
you had
point in
before.
time until
You lost
you
what you
gain
had.
it back.
I'm
Until
confused.
you earn it.
Isn't your request of all of these various gaming journalism sites to do things that are ethical? And
No.
isn't
That
what do you-
hasn't been my request, because if that was my request, I would have said, okay, mission accomplished once Polygon and Kotaku update their ethics policies. I would have been done. There'd been
Well,
no
then,
point.
John, you're gonna say the same thing though. Then you wouldn't give it two shits to begin with. If
No.
they changed.
I want them gone. I'm
Okay.
not here.
So
Oh, I mean, that's
you're-
fair.
Yeah.
You're the decider then, right, John? You say what's ethical and what's not.
No, I'm not saying. Look. You're thinking that you're falling for the meme of it's about ethics in video games journalism. If you think that's what it's about, even
Nice
if
meme.
even if all the Gators think that, even if everyone in the stream that, even if all the chat thought that, that is not. Allsfag, you got to fix your mic. You're really scratching. Anyway.
Oh, I said, don't invest in Pepe memes.
Oh yeah, they're going out of stock. Anyway.
More rare Pepes.
You shut your mouth. You hide your.
Then you better be able to share.
You hide your Pepes.
We're really
Hide
getting
your
off.
Pepes.
We're
Don't
really
release
getting
them.
on a tangent here. The point is,
What was the tangent?
I don't care who wants to care about. I don't care who has their priorities fixed on ethics in games journalism, because ethics doesn't matter if the people who have adopted these ethics policies are untrustworthy in the first place. That's the thing. What you
Well,
miss
also at the same
is
time,
that
John, that is true, obviously, but trust goes a long way, and also different people have different kind of trust issues.
oh sure they do, but I can also call them stupid for basically going ahead and saying that we should trust
Right.
these people because they have policy up.
But I guess I'm okay. I get that. I guess there are just no Gators in the room. Is that accurate at this point?
I know.
I think it's just people that have various opinions about Gamergate and have been either
So-
involved with it or know quite a bit about it in the room.
So with two.
I don't know why you care about that much.
No, well, here's my
I
point.
mean,
you
With
wanted to
two
have-
serious antis here, you guys are only talking about. Go ahead.
All right. It doesn't. At this point, it doesn't matter whether or not we are pro or anti Gamergate. It more matters what our stances are upon it.
Yeah, we just want to debate you on what you believe to be as
But
ethical
you're
and
not
unethical.
debating me. You keep talking to each other about how much you don't like game ranks.
It's an open stream. Like if you want to debate,
I'm
that's
not saying I
fine.
don't like game ranks. It's the same thing with movie ranks, book ranks, whatever. People have opinions, and there's different types of ranks based on different type of content.
No, I'm talking about the website.
Oh, websites.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, well,
and if
sorry.
I can
I'm not
comment
gonna
on
push my
John's.
opinion on other people.
If I can comment on John's earlier statement about taking Kotaku and stuff down, I will say that I do agree him on the point that even if you update it and say, yeah, okay, I'm for ethics in these ethics that you set up for us, it doesn't mean that they'll follow them. It doesn't mean that you suddenly gain their trust immediately. It doesn't mean that, okay, I'll change my entire ways now. I'll, even if it's
Person's
only
untrustworthy.
looking like it.
If the person's untrustworthy, and they have a long track record of being untrustworthy, it doesn't mean that they can't change. It just means that it's unlikely. And the thing about ethics
I'm going to continue on that really quick. And if you still have something to comment about that, all right. But the thing is, the point when you should trust them is when they actually start doing it. When they start doing these ethical things, once they start adhering to these ethics that they've placed up, then you can trust them again.
No.
What,
You're
what
completely
are the
dead.
disethics? Sorry, I want to. Someone has. Now we're finally talking about ethics in gaming journalism. What's one of the sites that's been disethical, or unethical, or has bad ethics?
I'd say Gawker,
Kotaku.
but I don't know if that would.
Let's talk about
I think that
Kotaku.
Kotaku is related to Gawker in a way.
It is.
Anyway,
it's owned by Gawker.
So tell me what it is. What is it that, other than a disciplined reporter who's been disciplined for her misdeeds. What is it that Kotaku's done that's so unethics?
A lot of false disclosure. They didn't disclose a lot of stuff.
Like what?
For example, who's this woman? I forgot her name.
She's the one that got disciplined, so let's move on past that.
No, it's not Zoe Quinn.
No, Zoe Quinn wasn't ever employed by Gawker. It was Patricia Hernandez, and she was disciplined.
Yeah, because of who?
Because she did something wrong and was disciplined by her editor.
Yeah, but who tell that the whole shit was unethical?
Okay, right. But her editor, when he found out about it, disciplined her.
By who? Who Stephen Totilo found out from?
You guys found out about it, but as soon as he knew, he disciplined her.
Gamergate help.
No, Steven knew from the beginning. He was just complicit in the fact when people actually started yelling at him to actually do it. That's when he actually had to do it. He wasn't.
Wait. What leads you to believe that he knew? What leads you to believe that he knew that Patricia Hernandez was living with Anna Anthony?
Can I just end this turn really quick because this is a really pedantic point.
No, I think it's a really important point.
No, it's not. It's only pedantic. It's only a really important point if you really want to go into the minutia about ethics in games journalism. Thing is, it doesn't matter what they do in response to this. The fact that this was allowed to happen in the first place, and that it took us to basically point out to Stephen Totilo, it means that they're untrustworthy, period. And if you continue to trust a publication like that, well, you're just dumb.
Well, okay, that's fair, but I guess my question is, if Stephen Totilo was duped by his writer, which he was, is it unethical or just poor management?
Look, in any other job, you should have been fired.
Really?
Yes.
So wait. So
to answer your question, a little of column A, a little of column B. But the greater issue is trust, and there's trust has been lost.
Sure, I get the trust has been lost, but I want to focus on this ethics thing because I get, John, you have lost trust, and so they need to die. I accept that. That is it's a totally consistent opinion. But the ethics thing, I'm so confused about because people keep talking about this ethics, but Kotaku, the only thing they've done actually wrong, the writer was disciplined by her editor, and you might think she needs to be fired, but he doesn't.
No, we didn't say we said. I just said by the rules of journalists, whatever. If you see the Super Bunny Hop video when they talk about ethics, if you do something like that, you should be fired.
No. But he thinks that what she needed to be was disciplined, and so he disciplined her. You think what she needed to be was fired, so you want her fired. That's the only disagreement you have with Kotaku is that instead of firing Hernandez, they disciplined her?
That's one point of the whole thing.
Because that seems like ridiculously pedantic to say, oh, you were supposed to fire this person, instead you disciplined her.
No, I didn't say what he did
so
was
would it
bad.
not be pedantic that the fact that you're focusing on it so much is pretty much proving the point that you really only want to care about this one point?
No, tell me another unethical thing they did.
Here, I'll just link you I don't. Now, I want to preface this. I don't agree with everything Deep Freeze does because I don't believe all these journalists. I don't believe.
Just pick the ones you agree with, as opposed to just linking me all of them. Because then I'm obviously what I'm going to link on, what I'm going to focus on in that page are things that I think are bullshit, and you're going to say, well, that's not one of the ones I thought was real, and I'll be like, well, you're probably right, John, because that's so obviously bullshit.
The ones under corruption and cronyism, I'd be inclined to agree with. If you're not disclosing,
John's always right.
I'm not always right.
Okay, hold on.
Seriously, if there's any one person in Gamergate that's not always right, who doesn't allege that, it's me. Everyone else, they have an ego issue where they can't ever admit they're wrong. It really frustrates me a lot.
Okay, I go to Deep Freeze, Outlets. Oh, where do I go now? Kotaku.
I gave you the link, it's in the chat.
Okay, I'll find it. Sorry, I'm like halfway there. Kotaku. Oh, wow, there's so many entries here. Okay. Wait. Current. Fuck. Where the hell do I go? Wait. Where? I'm at the Kotaku page. Where do I go from here? Fuck it. I'll just click on your link. No, I'm at your link. Where do I go from here?
Scroll down to the bottom of the page where they have the people listed.
Holy
with their
shit!
ethical
If you have no idea how the fuck to navigate a website, then how the fuck did you even get
But
it?
he's got a list of things. He's got a list of things I'm supposed to look at.
All right. Let me just let me find. Let me find.
So I can click on all the employees. Do you want me to click on one of the employees?
Let's start with Stephen Totillo.
Okay, let's click on Stephen Totillo. He's got 4 entire things he's done wrong.
Right.
His comments on the response to Kotaku's article on Dennis Dyack that he edited claim that the article didn't include Dyack of embezzling money from publishers. Okay.
Yeah.
What? Okay. Claimed harassment caused Brandon to leave her home, which it did, implying
No,
Gamergate
actually,
some...
You didn't read the article that was released by.
Okay, so let's talk.
You didn't actually take a look at the article that was released by One Fart to Continue, and you didn't actually read.
Yeah, I'm not going to read that article. So here's what I'm going to talk.
Whoa, hold on. You didn't read that article? Then I believe.
No, I've read the article, but let me talk about it this way. So here's what we're going to say. Right now, I am in my home, right?
Okay.
Except that I am in my home right now. I could leave my home.
Acting like a retard. Okay, we get it.
Yeah, I mean,
What's
like,
your
can you
point?
just admit that Brianna Wu lied? I mean,
no, I cannot. So she left
Brianna
her
Wu
home.
never lied.
She certainly lied in her lifetime. Yeah, why not? Who hasn't?
Okay, so she hasn't lied in the course of Gamer News. That way.
She probably has. People lie all the time. It doesn't even bother me. So, but let's talk about.
The point is, if you have someone who's going about making lies and telling stories, like she's citing tweets that she claims are from Gamergaters, quote unquote, and they have nothing to do with Gamergate or gaming at all, and she's saying it's from Gamergate.
But let's also, focus on the leaving her home, because you're trying to get me to talk about.
Let's talk about that.
Okay,
now
look. So she alleges she left her home. You have evidence that at some time when there was a camera crew in her home, she was in her home. Is that fair?
Is it fair?
What do you mean? She has to invite them inside.
Right. So she alleges that she left her home.
No, helicopter. Are you this fucking retarded? Because you just seem to either be willfully ignorant or you're just pretending to be retarded.
No. I just want to understand what the piece of evidence we have are. I just want to understand what the piece of evidence we have are. We have evidence that she said she left her home, and we have evidence that at some point post that she was in fact in her home. Are those the two?
Do you know what the case was?
Okay,
she
so
left her
you are
home to
retarded.
go to a convention. That was it.
You are retarded. Jesus Christ.
Look. Here's what so I'm going to look into this convention thing very, very shortly, but right now what we know is she said she left her home.
You read the article, right? You saw the evidence and the proof. The photos matched up.
Yes, I've seen that.
She stayed in her home during that entire time when she.
During that entire time?
Okay, no, okay, that's not completely true. You're right. That was slightly inaccurate of me. She left her home for a time, but she was not rushed out of her home as she alleged. It was proven that was not the case.
Okay, so. What exactly do you think was proven, and how was it proven?
Okay, there was a lot of interviews with her in between weeks. In all the interviews, she was on her own office.
Okay, so in the period where she had allegedly left her home, she was still taking interviews at her home office.
Think about that for a second.
No, that's what you're saying.
No. I want you to stop.
I thought about it.
And
I've done my full thought. What it tells me is, typically, people who leave their home have not vacated the entire area, nor have they left their home totally on...
Why was she playing damage control on Twitter the moment the story broke? Why was she saying, well, this is what happened? Why was she leaving out information?
Let me try it this way. I hate defending Brianna Wu. I think she is a bad person. I don't like very much about her. But one thing that I think is true is that she did get harassed out of her home. Now, is she terrible at interacting with other human beings on Twitter? Yes. Is she dumb as rocks? Yes. Do I truly dislike the lady and wish bad things upon her? Well, I don't wish bad things upon her. Do I truly dislike the lady? Yes. Now, all of that said, do I think she left her home? Yeah, I think she left her home. Do I think she had to leave her home? Nah, probably not. Do I think she did? Probably yes.
It doesn't matter what you think; it matters what the facts, Devin.
But the facts. So here's how I define leaving my home in fear.
Okay.
And here's what I think she probably did. So this ridiculous harassment begins, and all of a sudden, all of your personal info is posted online, and everyone knows all the shit about you. And you say, "Holy shit! This is terrible. I don't feel comfortable sleeping here." And you get a hotel room, and you go to the hotel room. The next day, you go to the police, you tell them the whole story. They say, "Well, check it out." Maybe you stay in the hotel room another day. maybe you check out your home, get some clothes out of there, whatever, because the fact of the matter is you don't think that people are like surveilling you at all times. You just don't feel safe in your house, and you're certainly not going to sleep there. So you
feel
what?
safe. Don't feel safe.
Yeah, don't feel safe.
In danger.
No, she was never in danger. I don't think she was in danger.
No point in calling it harassment because there's no.
No, it was totally harassment. So let's.
Your feelings have not do not. Your feelings about it do not factor into what actually happened.
Why is harassment a bad thing? I get harassed all the time on the internet. I don't go crying about it.
So
let me put it this way. Why is it a bad thing? Why is harassment a bad thing?
I can answer all of these questions.
If nobody dies, if nobody gets hurt and nobody dies, it's just words on the internet, why is it a bad thing?
So I believe in the marketplace of ideas, and by saying I believe in the marketplace ideas, I believe that people should be allowed to go out there and express themselves the way they want to, and the world at large should be able to choose between those ideas and pick which one is the best of them. And one way that you can stop the marketplace of ideas from working is censorship, by stopping people from speaking, and that's not good. And another way you can stop the marketplace of ideas from working is by making people afraid such that they can't talk. Now maybe they shouldn't. Now maybe they shouldn't be afraid. Maybe they shouldn't. Maybe she shouldn't have been afraid. But do I think that it's important to maintain the marketplace of ideas on screw you, bitch, I hope you die in a fire? No, I don't think that's part of the marketplace of ideas. So if the choices are either I can stop people from saying screw you, bitch, I hope you die in a fire, or I lose the ability of Brianna Wu, who, let me be clear again, I truly dislike and think is a bad person, from the marketplace of ideas, I choose to say, nope, you know what, you can't tell people to die in a fire. And it might be that Brianna Wu is being oversensitive towards being told to die in a fire. But I don't care. Because the fact of the matter is, lots of people are going to look at someone telling them to go die in a fire and say, ooh, this scares me, this needs to be out of the marketplace of ideas. And that I agree with.
A very interesting opinion. Because it's very close to my own, it just differs on one key point. And I have actually heard
that you haven't left the marketplace of ideas because you aren't scared of someone telling you that. Is that right?
No, that's not what it is.
Okay.
Basically, here's the only.
Why are you afraid of other people's ideas? Like,
no,
do ideas like?
I don't think go die in a fire is an idea.
I think you do. No, I think you do. I think you're afraid of other people's ideas that cause you to actually question what you think and what you believe.
So other people's ideas that cause me to question what I think and what I believe are probably about what he's going to say. Other people's ideas that don't question me to change what I think and what I believe are people telling me to go die in a fire. So I don't care to protect people telling people to go die in a fire. It's just not that important to me.
I wonder if I get to say
Go ahead.
I think you care about other people's ideas because it challenges your own idea.
So here's the thing. We are actually pretty close on this fake. And I have a very good friend actually who's made that same argument that you just made. I differ with him only in one key area, and it's the same way that I differ with you. I am more about the outcome of things than anything, rather than like I'm not necessarily an ends justify the means guy, but I'm like, okay, so what was the outcome of these actions? I get why, I get what the cause was. I get what the motivation for doing something or for changing the law or for doing the attack or whatever it was, but what was the outcome? And to me, the thing is that if you censor people, even the shitposting aspects, even the mob tactics, even the actual harassment when actual harassment happens, the problem is that it never just stops with that. Yep. People who have the power to censor always take it too far, and they end up censoring everything.
And I accept the slippery slope argument. I accept it. It's an argument.
Argument to both of you. I think you're both being okay. You both are making an emotional appeal.
Now you don't understand why I don't have a problem with harassment, because like I honestly used to be.
You do have a problem. No, let me try to. You do have a problem with harassment, but you are more worried that taking action to stop harassment will lead to censoring actual ideas out of the marketplace of ideas than you are concerned. If I could promise you, if I was in charge. If I was in charge and I could promise you, like literally a binding promise as the ruler and master of the entire world, if I could promise you that the only thing that was going to get censored from the marketplace of ideas was literally worthless statements telling people to go die in a fire, would you have a problem with it?
I still would, and the reason is because there's an old saying that absolute power corrupts absolutely.
No,
I've seen that promise made before and not be carried through.
No, but I agree with you. That my hypothetical is impossible, which is why I accept that it's impossible.
Yes,
However, you have to accept my hypothetical in order to answer the question. So I can make a binding promise to you that by stopping people telling other people to go die in a fire, that will literally not go any further. And this is a binding promise, and it is certainly true, and nothing can be done to change it. Are you okay with it stopping? I think your answer would be yes.
There was a time, especially a few years ago, where I absolutely would have said yes. But now, I just don't.
But you can't. But there's no argument. Look, I accept the slippery slope argument, and I think it's relevant. And you have to.
You're both wrong, and I'm going to speak now because I've been waiting.
Okay.
Go for it. I gotta go.
Agree with both of you because you're both presuming there's a problem when there isn't any. In my opinion, if there's more freedom to people, period, who have the power to, if there's more liberty for people, then they should be granted to it unless there's an actual problem. If there's a problem, then it should be assessed. By you guys saying that this is a problem, you're basically saying something needs to be done about it, and we basically need to enact laws and censorship and stuff like that. And I fundamentally disagree with that by the fact that I would say that people should be able to tell each other they should go die in a fire. I was told by Mr. Ralph Retort that I should die in a fire.
Well,
You're basically what you're trying to do is tone police.
No.
So let me run a hypothetical. Okay. Kevin, go ahead.
Like a regular human being, unlike you degenerates who like to argue about stupid shit all day long.
Okay. So Kevin, go ahead.
Who's Kevin?
Oh, Kevin's gone. Sorry. I so apologize. Sorry, John. Go ahead. You were going to finish. And then I was going to run a hypothetical by you about what you might think maybe that's harassment.
No.
Maybe it should be banned.
I'm already going to say that what you're going to come up with as far as harassment goes, I'm going to disagree with because
okay. You're really going to hate this one. So let me tell you what I will.
You said
but you challenged me to find you something that actually is harassment.
Yes, after I finish.
Okay.
Now, if you can bring up a legitimate example, I may agree.
You're going to find it obviously harassment, and then we're just going to talk about a scope.
Here's the thing. There isn't an actual problem here because you allege that by telling someone to go die in a fire, that impedes their free speech. No, it doesn't.
No, I never said that. I never said that.
Facepalm.
It does impede one's free speech to take away the ability to say that. Now, if they actually do it, or if someone were to do it because they were told to do it,
people need to learn to grow the fuck up, plain and simple. Because if you're gonna say this on the internet, how about you say it in real life to someone's fucking face?
Talk life.
I would agree.
I mean, I tell people to go and die in a fire in real life.
Yeah,
I mean, if I told them that I will kill them in a fire, that would constitute harassment because I personally am threatening you.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
When it comes to telling someone to go die in a fire on the internet, why this is not a problem is because this is the internet. You're millions of miles away from each other, and the people who are telling them to die in a fire generally are known entities and are generally not or are either egg accounts. Not known and it's not a credible threat. Being told you're going to enact harm on somebody like that generally isn't a credible threat. There are exceptions to this, in which the action needs to be taken. But with those rare exceptions, it's not a problem. Like, it really isn't. And the feeling, and just specifically to your point, that you specifically said it had to do with people's internal emotional feelings, impeding their ability to participate in the marketplace of ideas, which ostensibly is a matter of impeding one's free speech, whether you like it or not. That's not relevant because what you're stating is just a person's subjective feelings, and that's a personal problem they themselves should learn to deal with. And
at the same time, one thing might be that you could encounter a person such as the people of Westboro Baptist Church. Well, it hurts my feelings that gays get rights. Do their feelings have to become law now?
No. So I think you raise a good point, and it's a shame that you totally agree that my example of harassment was harassment, because it was the dude who lives across the street. Well, John would have. Nope.
It depends. Is there an actual implication of harm? Like, is there a realistic possibility?
John, it was a dude across the street from me pointing sniper rifles in my window. Not shooting, just pointing the sniper rifle at me.
Well, that's means
Pointing at
more
guns,
than.
you didn't get in deep shit.
Yeah,
What?
that's
Totally legal.
Legal.
Totally
Point a gun
legal.
at somebody.
You can totally point the gun at somebody. Totally. He's in his
No.
property. He's on his property. I'm on mine. Totally
Wait.
legal.
Well, that's kind of a whole different apples to bananas case. I'm talking
Yeah, that's
about
my point.
harassment.
Yeah, that's totally harassment. So you agreed with me. If there's some level of like, if the guy called me up and said, "Hey, Josh, I want you to stop doing this," and I looked out my window and there he was with a sniper rifle pointed at me, that would be harassment.
I would like
No,
you
that's
to
not
take a
harassment, that's a
sniper
different-
rifle and point
Well,
it at me
if
right
you-
now so you could put me out of my misery, because that's the dumbest argument I've ever heard.
No, but
Dude,
So you know
it's,
your chat wants you to stop
Dude,
jumping around.
Yeah, like
Fake,
seriously,
fake.
dude. Like,
but it's just a measure of scale, is my point. So regardless, there's absolutely all the slippery slope arguments that have been made are perfectly good arguments, and I accept them, and I think they're valid. And for the government to step in and say you can't say this, this is really, really wrong, is maybe a step too far. I'm not sure. Now,
Slippery slope arguments, by definition, are extreme and unlikely hypotheticals.
no,
that
it depends on context, actually.
no, but
There are some
regardless, you
Yes,
guys
yes,
are
in
making slippery.
context, in
No one is
comparison
saying
to the thing being.
right. No one is saying that it's
Yes.
very, very important for people to be allowed to tell each other to die in a fire. People are saying that by stopping people from telling other people to die in a fire, maybe we're taking a step too far towards censorship. And I accept that. Hell, I think it's right. Now, do I think it's right to tell people to go die in a fire? No, I do not. Should we as a community...
I think it's not a. I mean, I don't agree with
and people should be telling each other to
telling-
die in a fire more often. Because
Okay, right.
honestly, if they honestly feel that way about each other, if
Okay,
they honestly feel
let me try it this way. Brianna Wu, you live at such and such an address. I'll be at your house soon with a shotgun. That is the kind of thing that, while I
That's a
don't...
threat.
Why? Just
No,
going to come to your
that's
house
the-
with a shotgun.
That is a threat. That is
That is
not
a threat.
harassment.
Yeah,
well,
there's a
like,
difference. That's
harassment-
another thing about this whole
harassment
thing.
by-
Harassment is a repeated pattern of behavior. It's not a matter of just sending a.
Just one tweet. Just one tweet. So,
It's
regardless...
not harassment, though.
That would be.
Yeah, I don't have... Look,
That would be
look,
a
maybe
kind
it's
of
not
murder.
even illegal.
That would not be harassment.
Maybe it's... Okay, Brianna, you live at such and such an address. I'll be over shortly. That's not a threat of anything.
No, fake. Didn't you hear what happened to Mr. Repsion about the whole shit too with Ania Sarkeesian? Somebody using his name, other stuff, to send threats like that.
Yep,
Things
but,
are taken pretty seriously.
no, but
If you say things like that.
But my point is, maybe it's not illegal, maybe it is. It doesn't really matter, because we as a community should say, this is wrong. Stop doing this bad thing.
No, we
fake,
shouldn't. There's
fake.
no reason for us to do so because there's no problem. You're trying to make up a problem where there's none. All it's going to lead to is a form of censorship, and it may not be through the government. And if you want to make the argument that, oh, well,
Fake.
censorship
No,
can
if
only
you-
happen through the
So
government.
John, you're basically saying you want everyone to say, "Oh, John Kelly, I'm going to be at your house with a gun next Tuesday. See you there."
You can say that. I have no problem with that because there's no
Well,
possible.
maybe you don't have a problem with that, John, but
I
not
don't care
everyone
if other
has
people
the same
think-
viewpoints as you.
Here's the
There is
thing.
no.
Don't you think that's going to scare people out of the marketplace of ideas?
There's
No.
no certainty that will happen. It will make the person like, oh no, blah 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 blah. But that's their personal reaction. That's how they react.
Yeah, but don't you think it's going to scare them out of the marketplace of ideas? So do you think
I
the
don't care
idea...
because if they were honestly that thin-skinned that they would just basically shut down their internet and go away forever, then they
Yeah.
have no good ideas to begin with.
So
Because they
people
had
with
no
thin
conviction to
skins,
stand for them.
people with thin skins don't have good ideas. Is that your argument? And
My
so
argument
thin-skinned
is that people with thin skins are not teaching themselves how to deal with people in a
Sure,
in a
but you're
proper
saying that people with thin skins, those people should be excludable from the marketplace of ideas.
No, you're basically building up a straw
They
man.
aren't
You do
excluding
that a lot.
themselves from the marketplace of ideas, but other people are not excluding them by that point. You could tell me as much as you want that you want me to die in a fire. It will only exclude me from the marketplace of ideas if I say, well, I'm going to go away now and I'm going to exclude myself from, well, the
The
marketplace
fundamental
of
problem with his
ideas.
argument is he's removing agency away from the person retreating. The person retreating is the one who's excusing themselves due to a perceived problem that doesn't actually exist. It's a problem that they've been told by people who have these ideas that feelings really matter and that perception is reality. And then they go ahead and they act on those feelings. regardless of the facts of the matter of the situation.
Yeah,
Instead of using, say, Twitter's functions, which allow you to block, mute, and set to private, you can do any number of things to get rid of these people, and they don't do them. Instead, they go on media, national television, complain about them, and they say gamers did X, or they say anonymous did X, or they say this person did X.
But when they use those tools, wait. When they use those tools, you complain about them shutting down the marketplace of ideas, don't you?
No, that's not my position. I don't care if they block me or not. In fact, I make fun of them if they do.
The thing is, if you, for example, you want to be a public face, let's say, a sample as Anita, right? You go and use, and she go being a public face. You're gonna be criticized. If you're gonna take that criticized as harassment, you should not be a public face.
I don't see any evidence that she's taking criticism as harassment.
She has. You go.
No, but the thing is, if you want to be a public face, there's two things that you're gonna go through: harassment, criticism, and people talking shit at you.
Okay.
Right? That's gonna happen. There's no way on escaping it. But if you go out there,
this doesn't seem like a good thing. Are you saying that's a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it's a thing that's gonna happen.
No, but is it a good thing or a bad thing? That you're not the criticism. That's a good thing.
Let him finish, fake.
No, what I'm saying is, if you want to be a public face, you have to deal with the shit that can happen, like the whole bad part and the good part. It's gonna happen.
Okay.
But if you only have a thin skin, and you just go out there and just see this guy telling you eat shit, and you're just gonna go away from the internet because you just don't like it, and then tell everybody that your life is being threatened because of that, you should not be in that market because it's not for you.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. Is that a good thing or a bad thing that anyone who decides to make themselves a public figure is going to be shit on by random people without any actual content?
The thing is, it happens.
No, I get that. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
We cannot control it.
No, I understand that. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, he's asking your point on what you think about it.
Yeah, you think it's good or you think it's bad that happens?
Because in my opinion, I think these people doing this shit, most of them are anonymous dumbasses. Plain and simple.
So you sounds like you think it's bad.
In my opinion, I think things are neutral. Obviously, if you go out into the world, you're going to have people that act like assholes.
Okay, is that good or is that bad?
No, it's not. It's not a good thing for people to act like assholes, but I can't tell people what to do.
Sure.
But it's not a bad thing that they're able to act that way.
Nope, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing that they're able to act that way.
Why are we talking about things in terms of good and bad? This is really preschool kind of logic.
Yeah, this is not between good and bad. It's just reality.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're going to divide things into good and bad like that, and just be like, oh, is this a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is this bad behavior or good behavior?
I mean, good and bad is very subjective in this term of.
But I don't think anyone thinks that the ability to act like an asshole on the internet to Anita Sarkeesian when she says something is helpful to society.
I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious to act like an asshole to Anita Sarkeesian. I think it is one of the best things people can do right now is act like an asshole to Anita Sarkeesian. Because everything she says, all of her ideas are terrible. And the thing is, if she doesn't like it, she can just ignore it. And she can use that little...
That's all you have to
She
do.
can also block it.
Even though
And she
I don't
even uses her death threats to get money.
I honestly think that...
It's a great system when you think about it.
Anita Sarkeesian is probably a more open-minded person than she lets on. In fact, I don't think she believes a lot of the things she says. And the reason I know that...
I don't care because nobody can possibly know
that somebody's speaking. Oh, I can. She doesn't block Gamergaters. She blocks almost none of them. Yet all the other ones... hey, you know what? All the other ones block them. I've never been blocked by Anita Sarkeesian. That's a really interesting thing. And what that says to me is she's using it as a source of material. And that says to me, furthermore, that she doesn't actually believe what she's saying.
Zan, can I say
She's
something about
using it
this?
as a source of material. But, you know, that's a tangent.
Zan, I'm going to add on to that. If you remember back during E3, there was a thing with the press badges and stuff, and how it looked like. It didn't look like what she took a picture of it, right? But the badge itself did not look like that. Obviously, you had the badge, and there was a pamphlet. She put part of the pamphlet inside her badge and then took a picture of it. It's just called having an agenda. She's a very smart lady. She knows what she's doing, and she's going to keep doing it.
At the same time, with the whole thing with Ben from Drunken Peasants taking her pictures, she's like, oh, this is creepy, you shouldn't do that, and yet she takes a picture of a woman in the same way that Ben did.
No. You see, Anita Sarkeesian is not a model being paid to have her picture taken. It's okay to take pictures of the spokesmodels. It's what they're there for.
Actually, she is basically a model being paid to have the picture taken.
She's a model for an idea.
No, guys.
She had her picture taken in a public place where you are allowed it to be
legal and creepy are totally different things.
Yeah, it was legal either way.
Yeah,
You're saying that you have stated that people with like asshole opinions.
This is the fundamental problem I have.
This
is the fundamental problems I have with these kinds of arguments when it comes to the subject of what is acceptable, what isn't acceptable by social etiquette.
Yeah.
And all this other stuff. The problem is that while you may have your own opinions and social etiquette and stuff like that and keeps your own code, I have no objections to you keeping to that code. Like, for instance, one part of my social etiquette on Twitter, for instance, is I don't put any porn memes on my Twitter account. So if someone like tweets me porn or something like that, I'm not going to retweet it. That's just me. I'm not going to because that's not how I want to present myself. However, I'm not going to go ahead and tell everyone on Twitter, hey, stop putting in porn. That's offensive to me. I don't care about that. They can put whatever they want because I'm an adult and I can see whatever content I like.
Well, if it's child porn, then you're gonna report that shit right away.
Heck, no, I'm not talking about no. That's unconscionable.
I don't see the relevance of that to this. I mean,
I'm just bringing up all the thing together.
Yeah, well, that's an edge case. That's completely different from what we're talking about. The point is, the standards and rules for society that we have right now are basically trying to. There's people who want to alter it, and while some people have their own ethical code, and I don't mind if they communicate about it and speak of why they want to do it. The problem becomes when they try to force it on everyone else.
No one's forcing it on you. So yes. I can call you a creep, and you just have to dislike that.
Okay, here's an example of one thing they're trying to do.
You're on your creep.
Anyway, that's not what I'm getting at.
But what are people trying to force you to do? I want to get to that.
Okay, it doesn't happen.
You're stating that people should have to be censored for censored the whole way for stating you should go die in a fire.
No, I thought I was very clear that I didn't know what the right way of dealing with that was. That it's tough to argue whether or not it's a slippery slope or not a slippery slope.
Let me clarify.
Well,
that. If I said people like, sorry, go ahead.
You can go.
All right. If Hordar, if I said that you are being are one of these people, then I apologize because that may not be the case. That was a blanket statement. I don't endorse that. However, that being said, the type of argumentation you're advocating for and the type of argumentation that people who do want to impose new laws and censorship on people and do want to take away rights are pushing these agendas either through Congress, I'm using that term loosely, or through corporations. Basically, like, okay, take a look at Reddit right now. You remember the Reddit revolt situation where basically they said, oh, well, these people making fun of fat people, they need to go away?
That's not what the Reddit revolt was, but okay, we can redefine it.
That was a part of it. Like
that was what it got perverted into. Yes.
I don't. Let's not go into the whole story. The fact is, this event happened. Like,
yes.
You don't like getting. I mean, I apologize. I lost my train of thought. The thing about that was when they decided to get rid of that, they were enforcing new rules on people that weren't there before. Like making fun of fat people shouldn't be something that's banned. It shouldn't be something that's censored. It should just be something. If people want to be like, even if they legitimately hate fat people, like they have this pathological desire to just see fat people.
But that's not why Reddit banned it, and they didn't ban other things that were more offensive than fat people hate. They banned fat people hate for brigading, for showing up at other subreddits and shitting all over them.
That's not true at all.
It's totally true. That's why they didn't ban Coontown.
Can you show me evidence that this happened?
Yeah, sure. I'll show you where they said it.
No. Don't show me evidence where they said it. Can you show me evidence that they
trust me, they didn't ban Coontown.
I don't
evidence
care
that fat people hate brigaded?
Because I don't trust Reddit.
No, but
trust Reddit.
Okay, right. What do you trust?
Yeah, I don't trust a company that.
There's no way.
No. What do you trust?
There's no way for me to.
Exact same thing.
It doesn't matter whether or not I don't even get the nature of your question, Steeler, because me trusting things doesn't matter.
There's no way for me to demonstrate that the reason they banned Fat People Hate and not Coontown is because Fat People Hate was shitting up other subs, except by saying that's what they said, and if they really wanted to get rid of people who were disastrous, they would have been the Chimpire. Reddit, that's what they said. That's why they said they were getting rid of it.
Then can you give me evidence that they... Well, in that case... Well, if that was the case, then I think that maybe people were mistaken then. I could have been one of them.
Yes! People were massively...
I mean, they could say anything. Is that what happened?
I would need to see evidence that this subreddit was brigading, because if this was a case where they killed the subreddit not because of the content but because of the behavior, then in that particular case I cannot fault Reddit all that much for doing that. Like I think that the idea of brigading is dumb, but at the same time that's criticized. That's basically a rule set for the behavior, not for the idea or concept. So if that's the case, then I guess they deserve to be banned in that case.
So here's what The Independent said about the fat people. I think this is the one that...
Again, it's kind of like one of those reliable source things. I'll take your word for it in this particular case.
This is what Reddit said about it.
Right.
I don't know if it was taken down, and it's a pretty old thing, but I did see that one thing, and sorry if I can't back this up, because again, it's a really old thing, and I don't know if it was taken down, but it was a thing showing that was not the reason them going into other places. It was because they were advocating for hate of fat people. Now, I mean,
and just
you
like
could
John Kelly
still
said to the other guy, prove it.
But that's my stance on it. That's all that I know of it. Just saying that.
Gotcha. Anyway, regardless of whether or not Fat People Hate was brigading or not, let me give a better example. There are people who are right now advocating, like you have this Catherine Clark, who's a friend of Brianna Wu. She's advocating that we need new laws, not reinforce existing laws, which I find to be, unless I haven't scrutinized them all with a fine-tooth comb, but in general, I find the laws we have for online behavior to be reasonable as it stands now. But what they want to do is add more laws to the books to basically censor our ability to enact free speech, and they want to take away more liberties.
You're aware, of course, that Catherine Clark is the single most junior member of the House of Representatives from the minority party, right?
She is one example that I'm citing, and I'm not going
to
cite
her. But she's the single most junior member. Like, there are a lot of people who were just elected. She was literally the last person elected to the House of Representatives. She has absolutely no power, and no one has signed any bill that she's writing.
Am I a senator?
She's a congressperson, not even a senator.
Okay, fine. Am I a congressperson?
No.
That means she has more power than me.
Only a little bit, and she might not have more power than me.
You said she has absolutely no power, but she does have power.
It would be very difficult for her to get anything done.
And the thing is, she's not the only one, though. There are other people. Like, there's another senator in Congress right now who's going out of their way to pass a law against revenge porn. Now, I agree, based on my code of ethics, and I imagine that everyone else is
that shit.
Yeah, revenge porn is scummy, but there's no reason to pass another law against it. And the reason why there isn't...
The more laws you pass, the more people are going to do to just get around the laws and keep doing it anyway.
Yes,
there's that. More attractive. You're just
there's that.
Behavior.
There's that.
I'm not sure that there are enough laws against revenge porn right now. It's a pretty skeezy thing, and I think that the law that's getting written just requires two-party consent.
No, that's not the issue. The issue is, like, have you looked at the Maryland and California laws?
No.
Okay, I recommend you do look into them, because I did, and they're very subjective. And not only that, I don't think anyone's going to be happy with them, because it basically is going to screw over people in very specific circumstances who may or may not deserve it based on feelings. It's way too subjective, and they're passing these kind of laws that don't make any sense. And further, I don't believe that if you own property of a photograph of someone, regardless if they're indisposed or not, that they should be specifically penalized for it, for sharing it. Like, even if they're being a complete dick about it, like, what's the difference between, like, okay, here's an example. What's the difference between me, right? Like, say I don't want to get into details because honestly, this is a skeevy topic, and I'm not going to put it in hypothetical.
Well, it's hard to defend revenge pornographers, yes.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to defend revenge pornographers here. I'm just advocating that there shouldn't be specific laws against it because it's too subjective. It's like
write the fucking laws better if you're going to write them. I mean, try to avoid it because so far more legalese has only made things worse in our society, not better. So
yeah, and it also leads into a point that I think you'd agree with.
Try not to write them so bad.
Yeah, I think you and Zan would agree with this one because I think it would lead to more slippery slope. Because if it's illegal for someone to to share a photo of me and disposed without my permission, then what other embarrassing photos do I have? Did I not consent to being shared? That also must be regulated and monitored.
Any photo.
Yeah, pretty much.
Somebody could copy your Facebook photo and make a meme out of it and then do time in prison. Like that's the kind of.
I don't know that.
You know what that's? Oh no, that's exactly what would happen, and that's exactly what happens in Russia right now. If you want an example, and China, you can go to jail for posting.
Hold on, wait. I'm reading about this proposed federal revenge porn bill. It doesn't sound that terrible.
It never does at first.
All right, let me clarify something I said. I said the laws in Maryland and California. I didn't say about this particular law. Perhaps this law is better written. I'd still oppose it for the latter reason about being able to have ownership over it. Like, you shouldn't have specific consent to share photographs once they're taken. If you have ownership over those photographs, as far as I'm concerned, you're the proprietor of that photograph. Like, there shouldn't be the subject.
How about one taken surreptitiously?
What do you mean?
I mean hidden camera.
Hidden camera? That's a different context. Like, there has to be consent between the subject and the person taking the photograph.
So let's see. A person may not intentionally cause serious emotional distress to another by intentionally placing on the internet a photograph that reveals the identity of the other person with his or her intimate parts exposed, knowing that the other person did not consent to the placement of the image, and in circumstances where the other person had a reasonable expectation that the image would be kept private. What's so wrong with that?
What's wrong with that is because if I take a photograph of somebody, there shouldn't, unless you like sign a contract or something, there should be no special. You're taking away the owner of the photograph's rights to share the photograph.
Well, you have the right to share the photograph. Did the other person consent to the placement of the image on the internet?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Setting standards that don't exist because someone's feelings are getting hurt.
Okay, but I guess the question is, the other person had a reasonable expectation that the image would not be put on the internet.
It's not a reasonable expectation is my problem. It's an unreasonable one. It's based on a new standard, and all it does, it gives the government more power and gives lawyers more power who get more money by suing people.
Well, this is a pretty...
Locking more people up and writing up our jail costs because someone decided to share a photograph and someone got embarrassed.
So, John, you're basically saying you don't give a shit.
I don't give... I'm not only... No. You're getting it all wrong. It's not that I don't give a shit. Is that I care about this issue because it's going to do more damage to society.
I guess I'm confused. The Maryland law very specifically says the other person had a reasonable expectation that the image would be kept private.
Exactly.
Yeah, but who determines what a reasonable expectation is?
A judge.
This is the problem that I have. This is only going to be a means of putting more people in jail for something that isn't a problem in the first place.
Revenge porn is a problem.
Actually, it can be a problem.
Revenge porn is a problem.
It's like this. When you look on the internet, anything put on the internet is there for life. Let's say you go for a job interview. Most of the time, employers look up your fucking name on the internet.
And it doesn't matter. None of that matters because you chose to have your picture taken.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, but you did not choose to have it put up online.
No, but you don't have ownership of the photograph. You're basically telling that owner of the photograph that his rights are superseded by the fact that your feelings are hurt and you're embarrassed.
Wait. When he took the picture, the individual who had their picture taken believed that he was not putting the picture on the internet.
He believed wrongly.
So the only pictures that are subject to this law are ones where the photographer dupes the photographed.
Well, here's the question I have. Based on your standard that you have laid out before me, you have to apply this to all photographs. You cannot take a subjective approach to having it only applied to revenge porn.
No, this is about photographs where the person has their intimate parts exposed or
wait. Why is that special though? There are far more embarrassing ways that can humiliate someone and take photographs of them.
Like what?
With their consent. Like, I don't know, maybe dress them up in a swastika or a clown suit. Maybe we need more laws against that. Like things that are racist and sexist.
Nah, you see, those just aren't as substantial as that. Also,
that's your subjective opinion on what's substantial.
Exactly.
Well, if we look at what happens on the internet, there are lots of pictures of people being drunk, and those don't seem to have any impact on those people's future careers or lives. But revenge porn,
and no one can actually prove the damages. In fact, the only damages they can prove is the public figures. And guess what? That law you cited, the government one that being passed before federal Congress, gives an exception to public figures. Like, I'm not making this up. It's like,
well, you need to put an exception for public figures because that could be arguably newsworthy.
Wait until he's trying to talk.
So you're telling me that basically Anthony Weiner's dick pics were newsworthy?
Oh, yeah.
You're an idiot.
You like cock.
There's no two ends about it. There is no way that you can possibly tell me that Anthony Weiner sexting women with his dick pics is somehow newsworthy because
very newsworthy. Very newsworthy.
Well, what you're placing up is a double standard.
Yeah, like there's nothing newsworthy about that.
This applies to these people, but not to these people for no reason.
Yeah.
You really don't know how to make news. The only way we should make news is to find out if traps are gay, and you just don't know how to make it.
In fact, if anyone wants to, I wrote an article about this. It's about 1,500 words, and I did this in response to John Oliver's piece on this. And I'm really disappointed more people didn't capitalize on this, because this is an example of the kind of censorship that we're going to be facing in the future, and it's going to go ahead and harmless. And if people are saying that this is newsworthy and argue it, oh, sure, go ahead, argue that point. But then you're just playing double standards. And you're basically saying that because you're popular, you don't get rights to privacy because you were successful. And even though this could damage your career far more than some school teacher's job and career, you deserve to get fucked over because we want to laugh at you. And it really makes me sick that people think that way. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream here because I'm getting a little mad now. So.
Okay.
All right. Oh, John.
Unless someone has any more questions or topics that they want to bring up real quick, in which case I'll let people have their final thoughts.
Do you like Hulk Hogan?
I don't care about Hulk Hogan.
No, I mean to fake. I don't know. He probably liked it.
Oh, John.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said, I think, was it Netscape that said something about a stream about a different topic with ethics being extended to YouTubers? Do you have any date for that event?
Yeah, actually, I do want to have that be the next stream I host, and I would like to have that one happen relatively soon. So that would be a whatchamacallit. We'll set that up for a future time. So I'll announce that time. We'll talk about it after stream.
Really quickly, is it going to be like just the two of us with Netscape as the moderator, as he stated originally, or are extra people going to come in?
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll have me, you, and Netscape. Netscape will act as moderator because I think he'll be a good job at that. And we'll have the two sides of the debate, and we'll set up for, why not 1 week from now? We'll do it next Saturday night. Sounds good to me.
All right. That sounds good.
All right. Well,
and if I have any problems with it, then I'll just contact you. But for now, I do not.
Oh, sure. We'll talk more off air. All right. On that note, hope you all have a good night. Thanks for showing up.
Good night.
I hope we had a good stream. I disagree with a lot of what AGG says, but you know what? I kind of like him in a sense. I think
it's fun. I learn a lot of things.
He did interrupt way too much.
Yeah, he does need to work on that, though. I will say that he's speaking. Sometimes he gets a little
Same thing with Seattle.
I'm learning how to debate somehow. I don't know. This is a learning experience.
All right. On that note, have a good night, everyone, and take care.